Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 76 based on novel. So let's start. Since the main school building was so enormous, Tang Wulin thought that their dormitory would be as well. Reality, however, begged to differ. Shinyi brought them to a building in a forest west of Spirit Ice Plaza. This is the dormitory for working students, she told them. Go find the room corresponding to the number on your key. Classes will start for you tomorrow. In the meantime, you can complete the job you were just assigned. I'll be leaving now. Shinyi left while Tang Wulin and the others were in the middle of exchanging looks of dismay. All of them thought the same thing. Isn't this building a bit too crude? It's basically a slum compared to the school building. The building only had one floor and was extremely run down. It sat in the middle of the forest, but it was now clear that this was done to hide the building and save face for the academy. It was a truly unsettling place. There seemed to be about 20 or so rooms in the mottled building. Some of the rooms didn't even have windows. They had long since broken, the wood around them completely rotten. Checking the numbers on their keys, they soon discovered that they had only been given a single room. This room had no walls to separate the boys from the girls. It was about 30 square meters in area. Although it wasn't small, there were only 2 metal frames of bunk beds in the room. Other than that, it was completely bare. A thick layer of dust covered the floor and 2 of the windows were broken. A single string dangled from the light bulb in the ceiling. Considering the state of the room, determining whether that bulb was a useless ornament or a functional light source was a coin toss. Isn't this just too cruel? Are we sure we're currently in Shrek Academy and not a slum? Xie was dumbstruck. Compared to their dormitory at East Sea Academy, the difference was like heaven and earth. No basic necessities were provided, not even a mattress. Quit complaining. If you have spare time, spend it tidying up instead, Tang Wulin said. Since they were here now, they might as well make the best of things. He knew that working students wouldn't have it as good as normal students, but he was still shocked at the conditions of their dormitory. Captain, how are all of us supposed to live in just a single room? Men and women shouldn't be in the same room, Xu Xiaoyan said with a hint of worry. Xie laughed. How old do you think you are? You haven't even kissed anyone yet. HMPH. Xu Xiaoyan looked to Guu for support, but Guu only had eyes for Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin stood rooted in place, his face pensive. Since we've been assigned to this room, all we can do is make the most of it. Let's get our basic necessities in order first. We can start by cleaning this place up and getting something to cover the broken windows. We can then use some curtains to separate the room in halves, one side for the boys and the other for the girls. Yeah, let's start with that and improve things as we go. All right, Guu said. It was clear how much Tang Wulin's teammates trusted him. Everyone immediately leaped into action. As Soul Masters, it wouldn't take them long to clean up. As they tidied the place, they began to understand the pain of being a working student. Their only source of clean water was a single faucet meant for the entire dormitory. It didn't even provide any hot water. They had to go to the school building to get hot water and bath. Aside from that, well, they didn't have anything else. There were no other facilities at the dormitory for working students. The dining hall could be found in the main school building, so they had to cross the enormous plaza each visit. With the 4 of them working together, the room was soon neat and tidy. They even found a cloth to cover up the windows. As for curtains to separate the room with, they would buy them in the evening. Let's go clean the plaza now. Since they were working students, they still had to complete their job. Spirit Ice Plaza was truly enormous. They had to start sweeping early in the morning if they wanted to finish by the evening of the same day. When they went get some water to clean with, they discovered that someone was already using the faucet. That someone was a frail-looking boy. He had a towel draped over his shoulder as he collected water in a bucket. Upon seeing this boy, astonishment filled Tang Wulin and the others. Xie gulped. He was particularly taken aback because he knew the boy more intimately than the others. This boy was student number 2, the one who had beaten Xie Xie in the entrance exam with explosive power. He was a mighty power-type soul master and the greatest three-ringed soul master that they had encountered thus far. Even Gu's chances of defeating him were slim. His martial soul was simply too powerful and overwhelming. Carrying a bucket, Tang Wulin walked over to the other student's side and flashed a radiant smile. "Hi," he said. "We meet again. I'm Tang Wulin." The youth gave him an apathetic look, and only acknowledging him with a slight nod. His bucket was nearly full, so he picked it up, nodded to Tang Wulin once more, and left. 4 sets of eyes followed him until he was out of sight. Xie Xie looked at his companions in shock. "That guy's a working student too. He's so amazing, yet he's a working student? I thought he was an inner court student." Tang Wulin contemplated this realization. "Do you guys remember what the administrator said before we left?" he asked. "He told us not to bring shame to the working students. I think there's some secret about working students that we don't know about. Well, we can think about it after finishing our task. The administrator didn't say we couldn't use our martial souls to clean, right?" Guu interjected. Tang Wulin shook his head. "He didn't. I don't think it would be possible without the use of martial souls anyway. Then we don't need to bring water. I'll be enough." A faint smile appeared on Guu's lips, her eyes shining. "HM?" Tang Wulin's eyes lit up in understanding, and he grinned. "All right." Guu turned and began marching toward Spirit Ice Plaza, her 3 companions in tow. Xie Xie and Xu Xiaoyan bubbled with excitement as they also understood her intentions. Guu stopped beside the plaza. She took a deep breath, narrowed her eyes, then summoned her 3 soul rings. Her first soul ring lit up as she activated Elemental Tide. She held her hands up in the air, gathering specks of green light in her palms. Blue light soon followed until the 2 equally sized lights swirled in her palms. She exuded an aura of serenity as she manipulated the 2 elements. She moved much slower than she would if she were in combat. However, Tang Wulin could sense how stable the elements she gathered had become. They were far stabler than usual. Moreover, she was currently only using her first soul skill. The green and blue lights grew ever brighter as they spiraled within her hands, transforming into a tiny whirlpool. It rotated faster and faster until the 2 elements completely mixed. Guu's second soul ring lit up and the elements poured into the whirlpool faster than before. With both elemental controls amplification and her spiritual power in the Spirit Sea realm, the whirlpool of elements soon grew 2 meters tall and didn't stop there. Her third soul ring then lit up and she activated elemental fusion. The 2 elements completely fused into one. Armed with her mighty spiritual power, she had absolute control over the swirling elements. She was one of a handful of people who possessed 3 soul rings and had reached the Spirit Sea realm. The whirlwind of elements grew until it was 5 meters high. Just when Tang Wulin and the others felt it was about to go berserk, Guu gently said, "Go." Spirit Ice Plaza wasn't dirty to begin with, merely covered in dust. There wasn't even a single piece of trash in sight. A bizarre scene played out the moment Guu's whirlpool landed on the plaza. Dust gathered together, whirling around the hurricane in a frenzy before being sucked inside and leaving the floor as spotless as if it had been scrubbed by a brush. Guu withdrew her first and third soul skills, leaving only elemental control in effect as she followed the whirlpool forward. They began to walk around the plaza, watching everything within its path become clean. "Wow!" Xu Xiaoyan clapped gleefully. "She really is amazing." Tang Wulin inwardly gave Guu a thumbs up. She was the most skilled master of elements he had ever seen. Moreover, not only could she wield 6 different elements, she could even fuse them together into infinite offensive and defensive moves. Her future was boundless. She was the first soul master in history to wield so many elements. With fire, water, wind, earth, light, space, and the variant ice attribute, nothing was impossible for her. If they were ordinary people instead, even 2 days' worth of time wouldn't be enough to finish cleaning the plaza. Yet, in the face of GUU's water and wind whirlwind sucking in dust and cleaning everything within a 20-meter radius, this task would be completed without breaking much sweat. At their current speed, they would be finished within 3 hours. This was obviously assuming that GUU's soul and spiritual power would last. In truth, GUU was no superhuman. She was forced to recall the now black whirlpool and drain it into sewers after cleaning a third of the plaza. She then walked off to the side and sat down cross-legged to meditate. I'd be embarrassed if I let GUU do it all, Xie mischievously grinned. Tang Wulin smiled. Then you can just treat us to dinner tonight. Xie saw through Tang Wulin's scheme, however. Sure, as long as you're not coming. Those two girls can't eat much, but if we add you, I'd be concerned if the restaurant even has enough stock. I swear, your stomach is an endless hole. Tang Wulin chuckled. You're so insincere. Fine. Xie ground his teeth as he reluctantly said, I'll treat you all to dinner. But you have to finish those black buns before we go out. Those black steamed buns would do well to curb Tang Wulin's appetite. Okay. They left the rest of the plaza to GUU. In the meantime, Tang Wulin, Xie, and Xu Xiaoyuan would spruce up their dorm room. They had only received 2 sets of school uniforms and a Shrek Academy identification card when they were registered. The card was made of metal and had obvious signs of soul circuits running within it. The administrator had told them they needed this card to go anywhere within the academy, as well as leaving and entering. Shrek Academy's administration wasn't extremely strict though. They didn't actually restrict its students' passage in and out of the academy. Besides, the outer court was a small town in of itself. Students could find everything needed for their daily lives here and rarely needed to leave campus. While GUU cleaned up the plaza, Tang Wulin went to go buy some planks. He had Xie use his daggers to fashion proper beds out of them. As for the mattress, they had actually brought their own. After buying a cloth to divide the space, the room had shaped up quite nicely. But they stopped there. Tang Wulin believed that since the dormitory was for working students, it would be best if they didn't live extravagantly compared to the others. At the very least, they all understood how fatal it could be for them to act blindly without thinking. Tang Wulin had already noticed that not all the rooms in the dormitory were occupied. In fact, only 3 or 4 rooms had signs of any recent occupation. Even then, those rooms appeared simple and crude on the outside. Since this living condition seemed to be a tradition among working students, it wasn't their place to break the status quo. GUU's cleaning speed was unbelievably quick with the use of her martial soul, but it still took her until noon, a total of 4.5 hours to finish cleaning the gigantic plaza. Of those hours, half were simply spent recovering her soul power. The 4 meditated in their room together in the afternoon. Though they had just enrolled and were still unfamiliar with Shrek Academy, they could already feel a mountain of pressure weighing down on their shoulders. All the continent's geniuses gathered here in this haven, and while Tang Wulin and the others may be exceptionally talented, Shrek Academy had no shortage of students of their caliber. There were people like that student number 2 who had stomped Xie. None of the 4 companions would dare say they could absolutely defeat him. The only way they could flourish in Shrek Academy was to become stronger faster. The dining hall was enormous and filled to the brim, as if all of the outer court students were packed into the place. Unlike normal students, working students had to pay for their meals here with points obtained from completing jobs. Since it was their first day at the academy, however, they were allowed a free meal. They would only start paying tomorrow. They had received 100 Shrek contribution points each after completing their assignment at the administration building, but it was then that Tang Wulin discovered that 100 points was only enough to feed them for 1 day. Moreover, they faced another problem. To be more precise, Tang Wulin faced a problem. His stomach was simply too gluttonous and the dining hall wasn't a buffet. Fortunately, the dining hall served food comparable to East Sea Academy's first window. It'd be great if I could eat here for free. Tang Wulin exclaimed inwardly as he ate lunch. Since their dinner was free tonight as well, Xie would treat them on another day. Perhaps, because he had to start paying for his meals the next day, Tang Wulin finally revealed his true wickedness during dinner. He first found a large table. Then, he started collecting food. The dining hall was large enough to accommodate 1,000 diners at a time, so his actions were laid bare for all to see. He went from window to window, showing his Shrek ID card to get as much free food as he could carry. At first, few took notice of his actions, but by the time his table had 3 levels of food stacked up, people began to watch. A stern-looking man around 20 years old wearing a red armband walked over. "I'm Siapei Chen, a member of the discipline committee. Which class are you from? Why did you get so much food? Don't you know that according to the academy's rules, if you waste food, you have to pay 10 times its weight as a fine?" Tang Wulin stopped mid-step. "Hello, senior. I can finish all of this food." "You can finish all of this? By yourself?" Siapei Chen's voice raised an octave. He had originally thought that all this food was for him and his classmates to eat together, but that wasn't the case. Tang Wulin had filled a table for 10 with enough food to feed 30. "Yeah. I can finish this all myself. I still have 3 friends joining me though," Tang Wulin sincerely answered. "4 people can finish all of this?" Siapei Chen was evidently not convinced. With how nourishing the dining hall's food was, people generally didn't need to eat as much to become full. Tang Wulin nodded earnestly. "All right, let's see you eat it all then. If you can't finish, don't blame me for being rude." Though Siapei Chen's had a dark expression, but he couldn't do anything as Tang Wulin had yet to violate any rules. He stood to the side and watched. Tang Wulin smiled, exposing his sparkling white teeth. "Senior, how about we make a bet? If I finish all this food, you'll help me get another round. If I can't, you can punish me as you wish." "All right." Siapei Chen agreed immediately. With the bet established, Tang Wulin began eating. He ate leisurely, taking his time. Nonetheless, his eating speed was shocking. Gu, Xie, and Xu Xiaoyan had long since gotten trays full of food and sat themselves at a neighboring table, pretending not to know Tang Wulin out of embarrassment. Tang Wulin restrained a sigh from escaping his mouth. He always hated it when he couldn't eat his fill. Since Shrek Academy didn't offer free food, he partook in the ancient art of penny pinching, calculating exactly how much it would cost to feed himself. With a free pass tucked within his pocket, he was determined to eat a mountain's worth, enough to last him through breakfast the next day. Siapei Chen stood calmly behind Tang Wulin at first, but as he took in Tang Wulin's gorging, his jaw dropped. Is he even human? Siapei Chen subconsciously gulped as he stared at the mountain of empty plates in front of Tang Wulin, whose momentum increased by the bite. It wasn't long before other diners took notice of this spectacle. Did this guy starve to death in his past life? How can he eat so much? Heavens! Don't tell me he cleared all those dishes by himself. Wow! Awesome! I've always admired people who can eat a lot. People began gathering around Tang Wulin, drawn like moths to a flame. The sight of his gluttony drove their stomachs wild with hunger, and they dug into their meals with renewed vigor. "Senior, can I trouble you to get me 10 orders of that dish, the one that looks like sea cucumbers?" "Thanks." Tang Wulin beamed at Siapei Chen. Siapei Chen was numb with shock. He obediently went and got Tang Wulin 10 orders of the dish. This was his 3rd time getting Tang Wulin more food. There wasn't much food per dish, but the number of dishes was astronomical. This guy. The second Tang Wulin cried out in delight, drooling over the steaming dishes. The crowd parted to let a middle-aged man through, face grim and pinched. His body trembled when he saw the staggering pile of dishes. As the manager of the dining hall, he had miraculously received a notice that there was a shortage of food. He was well aware they overstocked on ingredients each day and had more than enough to accommodate extraneous circumstances. So it goes without saying how flummoxed he was after hearing their stock was empty. But when he saw Tang Wulin, he finally understood the situation. When did they recruit such a glutton? Hey you, student over there. Your stomach is beyond the realm of normal. The academy can't feed someone like you. If you ate this much for every meal, then I'll petition the academy to get rid of your right to a free meal, the middle-aged man said. Tang Wulin blinked in surprise. Teacher, you don't have to worry. I'm a working student, so I can't eat this much for free starting tomorrow. This is my last free meal, so can't I eat my fill? Working student? Everyone's expression changed after those words. The peanut gallery quickly retreated into the backdrop and minded their own business. So you're a working student? All right then. Have a good meal. After saying this, the middle-aged man left as well. Why didn't you tell me you're a working student earlier? Xie Peichen asked, clearly flustered. What about being a working student? Tang Wulin curiously asked. Xie Peichen groaned, refusing to pay any more attention to Tang Wulin and disappearing into the crowd. It looks like there really is a backstory surrounding working students. Tang Wulin's suspicions were confirmed, his curiosity growing, but he kept shoving the food into his mouth. This was the most enjoyable meal Tang Wulin ever had in his life. Perhaps because he broke the second seal, his appetite was greater than ever. The dining hall had 20 windows serving food, and Tang Wulin had cleared them all. He felt embarrassed. Are you still not full? Here, eat this. An older girl placed a steamed bun on his plate before going off on her merry way. Under her breath, she said, "He's so pitiful. He's still not full after eating all that." She was the first, but not the last to offer him food. Not long after, another student came and handed him a bun. The corner of Tang Wulin's mouth twitched. Am I dreaming? Maybe I won't have to complete jobs to feed myself. 100 points isn't enough to keep me full anyway. It's only enough for 5 or 6 meals for a normal person. His eyes lit up at the thought. Tang Wulin had scouted out the prices at every window, and the cheapest dish was 10 points. The meal he ate today costed over 1,000. Come tomorrow, and he might starve to death. He staggered out of the dining hall once he finished eating. With every step, he felt closer to bursting. Captain, can't you restrain yourself a bit? Xie wore an odd expression. Everyone in the outer court recognizes you by now. Tang Wulin stared at him wide-eyed. How will restraint feed me? Do you have any idea how painful it is to be hungry? Fine. Just pretend I didn't say anything. You know, I seem to remember someone saying he would treat us all to dinner. Let's go. Tang Wulin smirked. Why you're still hungry? Xie's jaw dropped. Tang Wulin chuckled. I'll be done digesting by the time we get there. In truth, there was something strange bubbling in his veins. His blood essence was surging through his body before he ate, as if it were boiling. The sensation reminded him of fusing with the Golden Dragon King's energy after breaking a seal. He was the one who understood his body best. After gorging himself, his blood essence thickened, growing more vigorous, and his blood seemed richer than before. Perhaps this was a method of cultivation for him. Due to this sensation, he prodded Xie to go out for another round of food. He wanted to test what was going on with his blood essence, along with the effect more nutritious food had on it. Fine, you win. Let's go eat. Let's see if your belly will burst. Xie turned to the girls. Come on, I'm treating you all. We can stroll through the outer court too. The outer court is practically a town itself. We've got to explore. Okay. Both Gu and Xu Xiaoyan approved of his plan. The four left Spirit Ice Plaza and entered a street lined with warm orange lights and bustling with people. Soon after they arrived on this street, they found a shop full of rowdy people. What's that place? Xu Xiaoyan looked with curious eyes. Xie peeked into the shop. It looks like this place sells drinks. So Shrek Academy has this kind of thing too. Let's go in. We can grab some juice or something. Yeah. Let's go. I want ice cream. Xu Xiaoyan exclaimed in delight. The drink shop was busy and was nearing capacity. The server dashed to and fro, taking orders and bringing customers their orders, the latter who mostly wore Shrek Academy uniforms. The four managed to find a table with great difficulty and sat down. They waved for a waitress, ordering juice and ice cream. It seemed that no matter the place, girls couldn't resist ice cream. Not even the detached GUU could keep her paws off of it. Once their orders arrived, the two girls happily dug in. After taking a sip of his orange juice, Tang Wulin nudged Xie Xie, whose eyes wandered everywhere. "What are you looking at?" Xie Xie smirked. "I'm just scouting the place to see if there are any pretty senior sisters here. I need to prepare for adulthood, you know." Doubt clouded Tang Wulin's features. "How are you preparing?" "This video will end here.